Hi, I'm Delphine. My friends call me Del, and I have just started cooking on YouTube. Um, actually uploading stuff last Thursday. But I've been cooking since I've been like a little wee girl. Um, I, I'm sorry, this is just, I feel like my breasts look really big from the shot. Like, or maybe it's the shirt. Pay me no attention. I am very nerdy. I tend to be semi-awkward, and uh, little things drive me nuts. I have OCD and some anxiety and some other stuff, but maybe if I stand back a little, I feel like they look like D cups or something. But anyway, hello. I'm gonna make some apples and cinnamon French toast. And I actually have vlogs up for all sorts of things. I've got some up for salmon cakes and grits, cheese grits. I've got some vlogs up for cream cheese, cherry cream cheese pie, sweet potato pie, um, pork chops, all sorts of things. And I tend to do things a little bit healthier. I'm not doing health food, and this is not a health food channel, but as a diabetic woman who has slashed her A1C less than half, got my blood pressure down, way down, cholesterol down, I feel like I still want to eat. Life is too short, but I am much more aware of how much like butter and salt and things like that I put inside whatever I cook for friends and family. So you'll notice that I'm using less butter. I'm using less sodium. You will see salt-free seasoning and get tired of it in almost every single one of these vlogs, except if it's a dessert vlog, of course. But yeah, I don't know what's going. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's just me, it could just be me, I maybe my breasts just look regular. It's just me, and I'm just anyway. I love to cook. I'm a foodie. I'm inspired by my grandmother, so like I said, I'm fixing a lot of Southern old school favorites, but um, excuse me, I am doing it with a lot less sodium, fats, things like that. So. Be sure to check out my other vlogs that I've got up. I think I've got like over 10 up right now. So I've been steady uploading since last Thursday, and I like, making new friends. I like connecting with people, and I hope you like the recipes. If there's anything that you would like to see, just put it down and suggest it in comments. And I'm from Baltimore, and let me get started making this apples and cinnamon French toast. Please make sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my vids. As soon as I do them, I'm going to be uploading vids on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Again, it's Del. You can call me Delphine or Del, or That Be More Chick, which is what I go by on Facebook. And you can also follow me on Facebook as That Be More Chick. And it's nice to meet you guys. All right, let me get into this French toast and stop obsessing on my breasts. Look at them. They look huge. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like I said, don't pay me any attention. You'll find that I'm like super quirky, and hey, I'm just me. All right, be right back with this French toast. So I had a couple leftover apples. I had a big bag of apples, and I had like 2, 3 left over. I just ate one about an hour ago. And I was like, I want to use up these apples. and something. So I was like, maybe I'll just do a quick French toast for breakfast or brunch. And this is all that I need. You see how simple this is. I've got, my 2 apples. I've got some unsalted butter. I am not on a sodium restricted diet, but I am on a um, lower sodium lifestyle. Notice I did not say the word diet. So I place myself on a lower sodium lifestyle. And if I can, in any kind of way, find things to cut out salt, I'll do it. I don't mind using unsalted butter because when I use things like milk or eggs, there's some sodium in milk and there's some sodium in eggs. I'm using the bread, there's some sodium in the bread. So even when I make a sweet potato pie, there is some sodium in the milk and the eggs and the crust. So I don't mind using unsalted butter and things. So I've got that, and I'm only going to use a little bit of that. I've got some nonstick cooking spray, and you know what? I forgot to put that here. So I'm going to use that too. 2% milk, reduced fat milk. I do not use whole milk. I haven't used whole milk in decades. Pumpkin pie spice, nutmeg. If all you have is cinnamon, that's cool. I might put a little bit of vanilla flavor in the when I mix the eggs and the cinnamon together to drop the bread down in. I've got some stale bread. That's it. I mean, and my pan getting hot. This is very simple, very quick, very easy. It's totally not complicated. It's inexpensive. All these things you most likely have anyway. Maybe not the apples if you don't eat apples, but any kind of fruit would do. If you have, apples, if you have even some pears, peaches, but this is for apples and cinnamon. So if you have any leftover apples, this is a really good way to use up leftover apples. And I'm also going to have a vlog that's coming up for apple bread pudding, apples and cinnamon bread pudding. So my mind's always like turning, trying to figure out what else to do with something. But yeah, this is all I'm going to need. I'm going to start getting my apples peeled and chopped up. It's only 2 little apples. Beat my eggs. And another thing, when I do eggs nowadays, I will use a ratio of 2 egg whites to 1 egg yolk. If I have 3 eggs, I'll do 3 egg whites and 1 egg yolk. So if I have 4 eggs, I will do 2 yolks to 4 whites, and like that. And that's how I cut cholesterol. So by not using as much of the egg yolk as I used to. So, all right, let me get moving on getting these apples. I'm going to get the apples down into a pan, a little teeny pan, and just, cook them down. You could also microwave them, but I'm going to get them in a little pan and cook them down with some spices, and then they're going to be ready to add to my French toast. So it's going to be a topping, like an apple topping, and then I might add some to the batter, to the egg mixture and the spices, but I might just have it where I'm making the French toast as, just a regular cinnamon, a spiced French toast, and then add the apple topping. I haven't decided yet exactly how I'm going to do it. I might add a little bit of the apple to the French toast as it's cooking, because that's what I love to do with bananas or sweet potatoes when I'm making sweet potato French toast or banana French toast. So haven't decided yet, but I'm going to be right back with that, and stick around. All right, so I peeled my apples, and they've been washed off and all that. This is so easy. All I'm doing is, and you don't have to worry about like lemon juice and all that to keep your apples from turning brown, because you're going to be putting spices on your apples. So they're going to turn brown anyway, somewhat. Make sure you don't get any of that core. And you can kind of just, slice your apples. It doesn't have to be any kind of way. And I usually cut my apple a little bit better than that, but I've got a little pan right here. So they're going to go into that little pan. But just slice your apples any kind of way. You could do chunks. You could do, you know, cuter slices than this. But for me, everything that I make looks a bit rustic, which is a really cool way of saying homemade, very homemade looking. So nothing that comes out of your kitchen when you're a home cook has to look perfect. But I'm just doing like little kind of haphazard slices. Like I said, they don't have to be perfect. They don't all have to be the exact same size and all that. It's cool if they all look a little different, which is the same way that it is with us, huh? It's cool that we all look a little different or a lot different. We're still all human beings and people. So that's done. Notice I haven't put any butter in the apple. I'm sorry, any water in the apples. There's a reason why, because they're going to sweat out and release their own water and juices and water and all that. You don't have to put water in there. Then they'll be swimming around in water. But the only thing that I'm going to put in there is about that much butter. That's it. And clamp the top down. It's going to go on the stove. I'm going to be back. I'm going to mix up the eggs and the spices, and I'm going to let you guys get a closer view of all of that. So I'll be right back. All right, family, I'm back, and you see these apples have been cooking for a few minutes, maybe about 5 minutes, and they're nice and soft. I have them on a very low heat. You can barely see it. And I just had the top on these apples, and I let them like sweat out. I sprinkle a bit of nutmeg. Be careful with the nutmeg. It is a very strong flavor. And I also put some of the pumpkin pie spice on there. Like I said, if all you have is cinnamon, go for it. Then make do with what you have. You just use the cinnamon. I like my pies and things like that very well spiced. Things that are supposed to be spiced. I like a lot of spice. Use as much or as little spice as you like. But as you can see, those apples are starting to get nice. I'm going to put the top back on them. You don't want to cook them on high heat very quickly. You could microwave these, but I am very old school, so I like to do a lot of stuff on the stove except grits. Grits is something that I have just started to exclusively microwave rather than having grits popping and plopping all over me on the stove. That's the only thing with the exception of grits. This is something like this I like to have on top of the stove and let it, you know, just sweat out in a pan. And I am also going to add, because remember, the apples are naturally sweet, but I have some turbinado sugar, which is that, you know, that raw sugar before they turn it into, you know, the white granulated sugar. So I just have about that much that I'm going to add to these apples. And family, if your apples are looking a little on the dry side, don't forget, please don't add any water to them when you put them in the pan. See what happens once they start sweating out and they've been cooking for at least about 5 minutes or 6 minutes on low. And I want you to just add a little smidgen of water like that. That's it. That's it. You're not drowning these in water because it's going to be going on top of that French toast, and you want it to be very soft and create its own little syrup, but you don't want it to be liquidy and soaking wet. Some things you want to be soaking wet. This is not one of them. You see how moist and juicy they are already looking. Especially after I added that little bit, maybe like 2 little drops of water. Sometimes you have to add a little extra lubrication, and there's nothing wrong with that. You see how moist and juicy these apples are looking. You see a little bit of that sweetness and that caramelization. Hope I said that right. Caramelization. Because I'm like y'all. I don't always say, most of the time I say words right, but not all the time. Say them or pronounce them right, and then it all depends on where you're from. So anyway, you see how right those are starting to get right. Sexy. Look how sexy they look. Sexy as hell, and they're gonna look even sexier. And don't forget, you put that little bit of butter in there. Now I only put a little teeny bit of butter in mine, and I've already talked about that when I started this video, why I don't use a lot of butter. However, if you have no issues with cholesterol, if you're not a diabetic, if you're healthy as an ox, healthy as a horse, whatever, go for it. You like things dripping with butter, hey, knock yourself out. I'm not going to lecture anybody about the dangers and the perils of too much of anything. So if you want excess butter, hey, like I said, go for it. All right, I'm going to let this go for another couple minutes. I'm going to turn this up a little teeny bit. Like I said, you don't want this like cooking and burning. You don't want that to happen. You want it to kind of gently happen. You can prepare this the day before. These apples, you can prepare them the day before, and then all you have to do is make your French toast, and it would be a lot faster. But this is very easy. And like I said, if you do this ahead of time, it goes fast because all you're going to be doing is putting the French toast into your hot pan. So I'm going to let this go for another 5 minutes, get softer, get, browner, and the juices caramelize. And I will be back with my hot black pan, hot and black, ready to, with butter and cooking spray, ready to dip my French toast into my wet, that dry French toast into my wet batter, French toast batter, which is the eggs and the milk and the spices. Get it into my hot pan, and then I'm going to be ready to have this topping on top. And it's going to be so sexy and so delicious. You're going to be like, whoa, seriously. All right, so I would say about 5 minutes have passed. These apples are tender. All you have to do is do like this. Look, you can break it with your spoon. You want the apple to be nice and tender. You do not want it to be super duper mushy, but you want it to be very tender. And another thing, if you need more juice, go for it. But I like it like this. You don't want, because you're going to be adding syrup. So, and you know what? Guess what? That's what I'm going to do too. Add a little, I have a little Mrs. Butterworth. I have a little log cabin. Add a little syrup. I just added a little syrup to that, to these apples. Turn my heat briefly back on high. And you all, if you hear sounds of cars and things like that, I have my windows cracked. So, you will hear sounds. So I added about, I don't know, maybe a tablespoon of water. And a little bit more of that syrup, just a little bit. a little bit more syrup. And look at how sexy. I told you it was going to look even sexier. Look at that. And it has made its own syrup. You don't want it swimming in syrup, but you do want it to be, not be dry. There's nothing worse than something like this being just super dry. Some things should not be dry. And I'm also going to put a little bit of vanilla, just a little vanilla in there. And I'm going to turn my heat off because this is right. Look at those apples. Look at how sexily spiced they are. There's not too much juice, but you can still see a little juice. Look at that. Juicy. Juicy. Juicy fruit. That's how you want it. You don't want it to be, too much liquid and juice because, like I said, you are going to be adding whatever syrup, pancake syrup you like, cane syrup, log cabin, Aunt Jemima, Mrs. Butterworth's, whatever. But I'm gonna leave this alone. And you want it to kind of cool off. So I want it kind of like at room temperature. So now I'm going to get started on my actual French toast. Okay, so the apple is on the stove. All I really have to do is to get these wet ingredients together. You know what happens when dry meets wet. It's on. But anyway, one egg I'm cracking in here. And no, I do not have the best egg cracking technique, nor am I trying to have the best egg cracking technique. So, one yolk. And I always keep a little bleach water and antibacterial soap in there. So I'm just going to beat this. And add some of that nutmeg. If you don't like nutmeg, leave it out. I love nutmeg. Pumpkin pie spice. If all you have is cinnamon, just use the cinnamon. And little milk. Little milk. Notice I'm giving precise measurements. The old school just eyeballs it. If you're old school, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's ready. And when I actually cook put the bread in the pan, I'm gonna sprinkle some more spices on it while it's in the pan cooking and after it's cooked. So this is ready for my bread. I'm not gonna add the bread until I'm ready to put the bread in the hot pan because it will disintegrate. Because it's just regular bread. People say, you have to use a really thick type of bread for French toast. No, you don't. You can use whatever kind of bread you have. Make do with whatever type of bread you have. If you have brioche, if you have regular white bread, if you have, like I do, regular, wheat bread. The only thing is with the regular bread, if it's not thicker, just a bread like this, like the loaf of bread, you want to wait until you're about ready to put it in the pan to actually dip it. And you don't want to let it soak or it will fall apart. But yeah, you can use regular bread. Like I said, make do with whatever you have. These apples are getting ready. So all I have to do is let the apples sweat out a little bit more. And I'm going to be ready to dip my bread in here and then put it into my hot pan. So I'm going to get my hot pan ready. All right, y'all, this is getting ready to go down like a sensual seduction. I've sprayed non-stick, any kind of non-stick spray you have, butter, canola oil, olive oil, really does not matter. And a little bit of butter. Most people add way more butter than that, but y'all know I'm not trying to wreck myself with a whole bunch of butter. And once again, this is unsalted butter. Look at that pan. You can look at your pan and tell when it is ready, because look at how sexy and hot it is. Here is my mixture. And I did add a little bit of vanilla to this. Just a drop, couple drops. What you want to do is, with your nice clean hands, dip it. Make sure that pan is nice and hot. Get that French toast in there. You want your heat to be like a kind of like a medium high. See how you don't want to have this in here too long because it'll start disintegrating. And you know, use as much apples as you would need for you know, however many people you are making this for. And, you know, as much egg mixture and all of that. I am, you know, not making a whole lot. So, and I'm going to take this time to sprinkle a little of that pumpkin pie spice on there. This camera not acting right. I've tried to make it bigger and it won't get bigger. But anyway, check to make, you know, look at it, flip it. You want this nice and brown. And if it's not brown enough, like that's not, we're going to flip it again anyway, because I'm just putting some of that spice on top. And I am a lover of nutmeg. Some people don't like nutmeg. Hey, do you? Do not add nutmeg if you don't like it. Do what you like. Alright, that nutmeg try to burn on me a little. You know, when you're cooking in real time, anything might happen. Anything. So that's getting right. I'm going to put my plate over here. And it smells so good. I wish we had smell-o-vision. I'm telling you. Flip this once more. I want it a little bit more crispy and toasty. There's nothing like when the French toast is, you know, you get it right straight out of the pan. And it's crispy, but then it's also moist and tender. You know? So I'm going to turn my flame off. My flame is off. Look how sexy this French toast is looking. Y'all, this French toast is sexy and it is ready. It smells, oh my goodness. Oh my word. I can't even say how it smells. But I'm getting ready to plate this up. Let's see, do I have this the way I want it? I want it looking nice. How about like that? No, not like that. Wait a minute. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it like this. How about like that? All right. It's like this and like that and like this and it's like this. Look at that sexy apple. Oh, Lord have mercy. Jesus. Lord. Now you can have this with turkey sausage, turkey bacon, pork sausage, pork bacon, ham, whatever kind of breakfast meat you like. It really does not even matter. But for me, sometimes I just like to have this with no meat. I have a little powdered sugar in this little container. And I'm trying to elevate this a bit. That's what I'm trying to do. Because I'm a home cook, and I don't know, it looks like it's flour on the, it looks like I drizzled flour on there, but hey, it's all good. It's all good. Why not? Why the hell not? Why the hell not? Right? Why not? And a little bit of that spice on there. I'm getting ready to do my French apple cinnamon apple spiced French toast cam. I'm about to do that and coming up in less than a minute. All right, y'all, here go that apple and cinnamon spiced French toast cam. How sexy is that? Oh, look at those apples. Juicy and tender. Look at that whipped cream starting to melt down. Lord have mercy. Look at that tender French toast. Look at that powdered sugar that I let rain down on the plate. It looks like I don't know, like a cosmic scene. Cosmic French toast. Look at that. And I let that powdered sugar just rain down on that plate. Rain down on me. Let that sugar and those spices rain on me. Look at that. I'm ready to get some of this into my mouth right now. It's time to get some of this into my mouth right now. All right, I got this thing here, and luckily I have a friend of mine who is coming over to share this because this is too much carb for me personally. When I eat French toast as a diabetic, I have one piece of French toast and that's it. But I am going to taste this. And another thing, you can also use sugar-free whipped cream in this as well. I'm going to taste this because I'm actually having an omelet for breakfast. A veggie omelet. That's another thing. I have a vlog coming up for a veggie omelet. But put put a little bit of sugar-free syrup on here, and look at that. Look at that. Fantasy French toast. Fantasy French toast. Fantasy French toast. Look at that. Lord have mercy. Oh my gosh. Bam! This is this is delicious for Mother's Day brunch. By the way, I have some Bananas Foster French toast vlog up as well. This is perfect for Mother's Day brunch, breakfast brunch with mimosas, Father's Day, Grandparents' Day, whatever. A nice date